fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is Horror on the Orient Express. It's available from Chaosium. I am the Keeper of Arcane Lore, and this is episode 60. Our recap will be given by David Gasaway as his character, Dr. Roland Kurz. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. David?
Thank you, Tom. Sunday, February 4th, 1923. Yesterday we arrived at last at Constantinople. Well, 4 of us did. York and Dabrowski disembarked prematurely. So we checked in, all pieces of the simulacrum accounted for. We attempted to relax at a hammami, ate as best we could, and settled in for much-needed sleep, only to meet frustration after frustration with dire portents for our urgent endeavor. We retrieved the scrolls that Smythe had sent ahead to the bank deposit. They were disappointing in appearance, very unlike the scroll of the head. Because we planned to buy arms for ourselves at the Grand Bazaar, we went to Topkapi Museum ahead of time and were treated mostly with rude suspicion by curator Gara Azap. But in time, he granted us permission to glance at the museum's scrolls for a few minutes. These scroll cases looked more like what we seek. The delicate mother-of-pearl decorations were disturbing. Already Thursby was planning a daring heist. To no avail. The scrolls had been stolen. A note remained in the place of one. The skinless one reclaims what is his. Cursed be Garaznet the thief for his treachery. The last person logged in to have seen these scrolls? Suleiman Malfikat, 100 years ago. And now we consider, must we, weakened and few as we are, attempt to approach the cursed Red Tower? I fear so.
Hey, so you're at the Topkapi. You're asked. You stay there for a bit. They want to question you. However, it's obviously that you didn't steal them right in front of the curator, and you're dismissed. But the police have at least, taken information down.
Well, what authorities were summoned? Is this the English authorities?
Well, a combination of both. The local authorities, although they're mostly British, they're still. This is on the Stamboul side, so there's more Turks involved than they are on the Paris side.
But perhaps for something like the museum, it's only upper staff people who are maybe friendlier with colonial powers and whatnot.
Right.
Less likely to slip a trinket into their pockets.
So we'll say that by 10:30, you are out of there. 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Did we know, because that Garzanet, he's dead, and did we find out what cemetery he was buried in?
The major cemetery for the entire region is across the Bosphorus. It's called
Over there in Scutari.
It's called Uskadar Karajakhmet Cemetery.
Okay.
But that's as I say, across the Bosporus.
Yeah, because we're in Istanbul area.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at the map there. Hmm.
And what ballpark time did they die again? Did we get that information?
Garazet. Well, if you wanted to look up, I will say that you asked questions. Garazet is it says his name, it says where.
Is the implication that Garaznet had procured them for the Topkapi Museum, and then when Suleiman the Red stole them back, he left a note mocking him?
Or that Suleiman was cursing him because they weren't here.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping.
Yeah, I would. Any events of the past that will mean that we don't have to go pay a visit to the Brotherhood and their stronghold.
It says that he died 400 years ago.
400 years ago.
Hmm.
Yeah. So Garaznet, the long dead scholar, puts him into Topkapi.
He was Kurdish.
Suleiman left a note.
Yeah.
As a sort of
Main.
rude commentary.
Yeah.
Which means they have 4 and we have 1, which means they want to kill us more than ever.
Gives us a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling.
So we go down to the Grand Bazaar, yes, buy ourselves some blunderbusses, some curved blades.
Okay.
Sure.
Too bad we have to recover this.
I mean, when in Constantinople.
Right.
Yeah, maybe we should get some fezzes.
It's not that far from the Topkapi.
Yeah.
You end up, all right, so you travel over there. And of course, the closer you get to it, the more traffic there is. But the Grand Bazaar itself is a huge complex. There are 8 large iron gates that allow people to come in from various directions. If you can imagine that at some point they were mostly tents, but the tents became so permanent that they put in permanent structures, and it still has very much the feel of a tented city, but there's now pillars holding up parts of the roof, and there's covered domes and everything else. The noise is pretty loud. The smells of exotic foods and incense and everything. The crowds are like almost wall to wall, shoulder to shoulder as you go along. You've been warned. Yeah, you've been warned about pickpockets.
Yeah, I wonder if the first thing we do is try to find a translator and short-term guide at least, because then we will have a leg up with negotiations for anything else we wish to purchase. And because we have to be cautious at the very least, we might want to try a few guides out before we make a great commitment to anyone. See if there remains an honest man.
Okay. So the feel of the bazaar is one of constant excitement. There are people playing music, people begging for food, begging for coins. There are people selling everything you can imagine, from carpets to weapons. There are circus performers, a gypsy with a bear, everything you can think of going on. And you start to make your way. You can get directions sometimes from people. Where are you going to find this? Where are you going to find that? You said you were going to look for at least somebody who can help you translate. You start to head towards an area that they told you that there are scribes, there are people who, can be hired for that sort of thing. I would like you to all do spot hiddens as you are moving through the crowd.
Whoa, regular.
Ooh, 12 is an extreme.
A 24 is not that.
71, a complete failure.
That's right.
Crispy is looking for rare animals.
Yes.
Yeah, he's getting his eyes caught by various things. And of course, there are also, at every turn, there's people saying, come, my friends, in here. Let me show you what I have. And you're getting used to just walking away rather than.
Yeah.
But David and Gunter, this actually goes for all of you. You all feel a little nervous because you realize that anyone in this crowd could come up to you with a knife, and it would be pretty difficult to even identify who it was. There's a lot of people with beards and turbans and robes, and they all look, there's a lot of them look Turkish, so you guys are pretty wary. But David and Gunter, you have your eyes on 4 gentlemen. They seem to be moving their way through the crowd as if they are heading somewhere. And after a few minutes of sort of moving, you're moving away from them, but they're moving kind of in your direction. You have a funny feeling they're following you, and they're getting closer with each minute.
Crispy, I don't look immediately, but eyes left. There are 4 people who seem to have gathered their attention. Reader, do you think did you see them near the top copy? We did make a scene there.
Yeah.
You didn't, but
I mean, the authorities came and then we came out of the, private area or something. We might have, if they were looking for something.
They seem now to be pushing their way through the crowd. They're definitely not looking at any of the shops or the wares, and they are definitely moving in your direction.
Do they look like they have kind of conspicuous bulges in their?
It's too hard to tell. There's just such a sea of people.
And they are just hard-looking men wearing fezzes with beards?
Yeah.
Like many others?
They don't look like they're happy. They don't look like they're enjoying themselves. They look like they're very seriously heading right at you.
So they're not shopping, they're looking for people. And
They're looking for us.
Well, they're not looking around either.
Since they're following us, they probably spotted us already. So what do you think about doing a quick stage left here and ducking in between a couple tents?
It will clarify their intent if we make evasive action and they're undisturbed.
Yeah. Do we see real quickly, is there like a building, a tower, a church, whatever, a temple, governmental building that sticks out that's real easy to act as like a beacon? So like if we dodge left real quick, we could then work our way to that.
Not inside the bazaar. All you can see is shops all the way around you.
Oh, so nothing on the
It's
sky. Okay.
You're pretty much in a building,
Oh, okay.
a giant building. Yeah.
Got it.
There's a lot of people. People are bumping into you, jostling you around and stuff.
It's like going to a swap meet, is what it's like.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said there's some beggars.
There's bakers, they're sitting on the ground, just people tossing them coins occasionally.
Yeah.
But these men are getting.
How many coins do I have? Have I?
Bingo.
Yeah, you probably got a handful of coins.
Okay. Well, we're going to try and duck.
Yeah, let's do a duck
There's-
and then cash and coins.
There's not really an in-between anything either. These are what would have once been tents are now like stalls.
Mhm.
So there's backs of stalls, but that's kind of behind the counters. Sorry, David.
Alleyways through. I mean, there must be some, if not a grid, it must have gaps for turning.
Occasionally, yeah.
Yeah, so vendors can move their goods in and out without trampling through other vendors.
Right.
So we take a left and then a right, and we toss some coins at a group of beggars, and then we take another left, and then we make a stand, or
I say we maybe shoot for the exit or whatever, the nearest one, maybe, I don't know, on the east side, west side, whatever, and then just wait there just outside.
You're not near an exit, so
Oh, so we're like just smack dab
you
in
can
the
get there.
middle.
Like I say, you're in wall-to-wall people.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Maybe just try to make a stand then after we try losing them and see how good of followers they are.
All right. So as you are at least trying to avoid these people, they kind of catch up to you. And I'd like you all to do spot hiddens in that last couple of seconds before they encounter you.
Gosh, 73.
63 is a failure, but I could spend 2 points of luck to pass.
73.
You don't have to.
I have a regular.
The hell.
All right. So at the last moment, when you're sure that they are going to break into at least the little cell of where you guys are at, those of you who passed, it suddenly dawns on you that they're not looking at you. They seem to be looking just past you into the crowd. So what seems like was going to be an attack just sort of pushes past you as they go. But just as they push past you, you turn and you notice a gentleman, a man. He's dressed in a white robe. You guess that he's maybe in his 50s. He has a decorated sort of lanyard thing around his neck that supports a small wooden portable table in front of him. There is fancy like abalone shell work around the edges in a little filigree. He's got a little thing that has an inkwell, and he has paper on the table, his portable table that he is working on. He looks like what you would think is a scribe. And they push past you, just past you. And one of them comes up with his hand, bash, like that, and knocks the table. I call it a table. What would you call it? Like a little portable table. Knocks it up. The ink from that hits one of the people in the crowd right next, and they're splashed with India ink. And the guy that did that grabs a hold of the scribe and punches him right in the face and knocks him to the ground. And the other three, suddenly, there's noise. There's people are like this and getting back from it. And they start pounding on this man. It's pandemonium for that moment. Is there anything you want to do?
So this was the guy that we get the impression they were actually going after.
Right.
What form of authority exists inside the Grand Bazaar?
There are police, but they're off the top of your head you can't see anybody. They wander through the crowd as well. And there's now some people screaming. There's an old gentleman inside the stall that's right there that suddenly is like yelling at these men in Arabic or Turkish. They're trying to break up this fight. The scribe is laying on the ground, almost curled up in a fetal position, and they're beating up on him and screaming at him, yelling things at him in Turkish.
If only any of us spoke Turkish.
Yeah.
Or if only we had already purchased weapons, or
none of them seem armed, except with their arms.
And the beating that they are, does it look like their intent is to kill, or are they just roughing up?
Well, having a background of knowing what fighting looks like, it just looks like they're beating the shit out of him. They don't want to kill him, but they're roughing him up pretty bad.
Are we next to a stall that sells maybe apples or potatoes or something else?
Sure, roll for luck.
Makes a nice bonk on the head, and then you can look innocent. 91 is my luck. It's all backgammon sets, and
Okay, I will look for.
I'm gonna just yell out, the British are coming.
Fucking British. I go, where?
Shut up, Paul Revere.
Yeah. I hold two lanterns.
Are you yelling for police?
No, I'm trying to feign that they are coming, even if they're not, to get these guys to run away. That I'm bluffing, but essentially.
Do an intimidate roll.
Oh God.
If I can pick up.
No, 48 is nowhere close.
Could I assist if I kind of get the gist of what Dr. Neruda is doing? Can I sort of play into it to try to like more people playing up that?
All right. Yeah, go ahead and do a bonus roll on that one then.
A bonus roll for.
I roll a.
Yeah, just roll again.
Take the better.
Oh, there you go.
58. It was worse this time. So.
So as you get that close and you try to intimidate, you end up getting the attention of one of these guys, and with. You know how when you get really angry, it can almost look like a smile on your face because you're sneering? Well, this guy turns around sneering like this, and his hand comes out and grabs a hold of you, Theodore, and he goes, "Stay out of it, British," and he shoves you backwards.
Oh, yeah. It probably should not fight heavily back. Yeah, if he's just shoving me back, I'll go take that shove then.
Okay. Do a dex roll to see if it, because there's so many people around. Does it knock you?
Yeah.
Do you trip and fall?
Okay, oh, come on. What is that? It's so dark. I need light here. Okay, 67. I think that's a fail. Dodge. No, it's not a dodge. Dex. Oh, it's a pass.
Okay, so
All right.
you almost fall. You probably knock into a lady or a man or somebody behind you, and you apologize. And
Apologize to them.
the people are trying to pull back and get away. Anybody else want to do anything?
Nah, I don't feel like getting punched in the face today
Okay.
over someone I don't know.
After a couple of seconds, you hear a police whistle off, maybe to your right, maybe 20 or 30 feet away, and you can see the crowds trying to get out of the way you can see the policeman's hat more than you can see the policeman.
Oh,
And when
mission
that happens, I'm sorry, did I?
Oh, no, I was just saying mission accomplished, like
Yeah.
what the Dr. Neruda was shooting for.
The four gentlemen sort of half lift this guy off the ground and then throw him back to the ground. One of them kicks his now partly broken portable desk, and they immediately blend into the crowd as they move away. Of course, just as the cop starts to get there. And this guy is on the ground. He's obviously got ink splashed on him. A couple of the other people in the crowd have ink splashed on him, and they're pissed and yelling. And the cop is coming up and he's yelling something. He's Turkish, and he's yelling something at them in Turkish. The old gentleman from the stall has come over to the scribe lying on the ground and is sort of dusting him off and trying to pick him up. What would you like to do?
Who's picking up the scribe?
Oh, well, the old man.
Yeah.
These don't look like, he doesn't look like a healthy old man. He's hunched over. He has osteoporosis.
I'll help collect his spilled items around on the floor and put them in one place for him there.
Okay. You see that you can find, the top part of his desk, the pretty little filigreed, work that was on it. Part of that is smashed, but you find the pieces. Maybe it can be glued back together. The strap on it is torn. You find the now almost empty ink bottle and some of the brushes on the floor, on the ground. But you manage to sort of pull them together as the old man is sort of helping this guy get back on his feet.
Thursby, are there any, on his writings, are there any languages you recognize?
Do we have French, Italian, or English there?
Well, yeah, it looks like he had a few. It looks like government documents and things like that have various languages on them that he was working on.
Okay, I'll just point that out, whatever I can, read or get a gist from.
And as you sort of hand some of this back to him, he's like, he says something in Turkish to you, but then he looks up at you and he's like, thank you very much. As he takes these things from you, the old man brings him a glass of, you're not sure if it's water or alcohol.
Yeah.
Actually, it wouldn't be alcohol. I don't think.
Probably not.
I don't think the Muslims drink alcohol, but they bring him, he brings him something to drink. Maybe it's coffee.
Strong
or tea. He says, I'm sorry that this happened.
I'm sorry this happened to you. It's looks like a dangerous place here.
He says, I did some paperwork for them the other day for the government, and I guess things didn't go the way they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And since they couldn't take it out on the government, they decided to take it out on me. And he introduces himself. My name is Farrar. Oh, come on.
Yeah, Ferrari, you gotta let it go. So,
He introduces himself as Farrar.
Ferrar.
If you don't mind, of course, don't disclose anything you can't. But what was the nature of the of what you were writing up that they took such an offense to?
Oh, it's nothing in particular. A dispute over a piece of property that they own. It's in dispute with another party, and they wanted to make a petition to the government, but I mean, I wrote it up the way they wanted it, but apparently it was rejected. These things happen. That's not actually my fault. It's just the situation. Only they didn't care that it wasn't my fault. I was the only one available for them to beat up.
Mm. Yeah.
And he sort of has his little desk, and
Well,
he's like, well, my uncle made this for me. I have to see if I can find a way to fix it. Are you don't sound British. Are you Americans?
um, I'm German originally, but I've moved to America, and sorry that happened to you, but if we are looking for a scribe, and maybe if we hire you on, we could helps the pay could soothe some of the pain.
Well, if you have any confidence in me after witnessing that ridiculous
Well,
attack.
I assume you can scribe a government document well. The only that is what could get someone so angry.
Most of the population here can't read and write. Of course, the British and the French and the Germans can, but a large portion of the Turks can't and the Persians can't. But that's why we're here.
How did you come by education?
I went to the University of Istanbul, of Constantinople.
Mm.
I speak 5 languages.
Oh,
That was my next question.
very good.
Anyways, the old man brought him a chair, so he's sitting on a chair. He's drinking, trying to clean himself off. What do you have that you would need me to do? Write something in Turkish, or put together some documentation for you?
We have a general need for a guide while we're in the city, as none of us have any Turkish, and we will not always be visiting places that are common for tourists to visit. And there may be multiple. What languages do you speak?
I speak English, Persian, Turkish, German, and French.
Mm. The scrolls that Smythe had put in the lockbox, did we know what language those were in? Were they?
The scrolls that he put in the log, was there anything in the lockbox?
Yeah, there was two.
The forgeries.
Yeah.
Oh, the forgeries. Oh, yeah, they look like Persian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
They might still be of interest in some other way. Smythe bought them under the idea.
and then he bothered to send it. If you would be able to translate these for us.
Oh, let me look. And he says, he looks rather kind of shocked and surprised.
Kind of give him do my best to have like a naive look on my face.
He he looks at them for a moment and he says, well, these are these are portions of other documents. This here is a trade agreement between one person selling a donkey to another, but it's like this was written by an inexperienced writer, somebody who was copying perhaps a practice sheet where they were taking other texts and just copying bits and pieces of them. It doesn't make much sense.
Well, I hope that our friend who purchased it from afar didn't pay overmuch for it. I'm afraid he was fooled.
He smells the document and he says, well, it's modern ink.
Yeah, I think he bought it sight unseen based on description and was misled.
You
Now,
thought they were something more valuable. There are a lot of things that they sell here at the bazaar that are forgeries, trinkets for the tourists to think that they have something truly valuable when they're just cheap copies of things.
well, be able to turn that in America. But now I'm starting to think, I don't want to say it in front of him, but I know that, hidden ink, lots of times people will write over in messages that are obviously bland and then have the message hidden away on like a hidden ink that can be displayed somehow. I don't know how you actually would make it show up, but
You mean like lemon juice?
Lemon juice, yeah.
I'm going to turn to Bloch and in German say, I wonder if we should show him the scroll of the head and see what he makes of that.
He speaks German.
I know, but this is a 2 tests in 1, you see.
Oh, okay.
His eyebrows go up, but he doesn't seem to react to it.
His eyebrows went up.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a strange thing to say.
Yeah.
Little does he know, but we are very strange people. Do we address you Mr. Farrar, or?
It's just Farrar.
We have another document, not on a person, but it is distinctly not a recent example of handwriting sample, something that is old and strange, and we are trying to find other pieces like it.
He gives you the once over. He looks at you and he says, "You're not just tourists, then. The way you speak is very educated. Are you scholars, traveling scholars, or
We
archaeologists?"
We are traveling scholars. We are trying to do important work.
Have you been to the top copy?
Yes.
There's a great many beautiful pieces of literature there.
Because unfortunately, we could not find exactly what it is that we came to look for.
Well, perhaps I can help you then. I'm aware of a great many pieces of, the history of a lot of the things at the top copy. I often go there. I mean, I partly developed my Arabic, my Persian style of writing based on some of the more beautiful examples at the top copy. I don't mean to pry. You mentioned something about a scroll of the head. Did I understand that correct? I don't know what that means.
By an author named Sedefkar, who died sometime around the Fourth Crusade.
an odd name. You know, it's a Turkish word. Do you know what it means?
Monstrous?
Oh, no,
Beastly?
no. A Sedevkar is a person who crafts things out of mother of pearl, much like this on my table.
Oh,
They decorate things with mother of pearl, seashell. It's a seashell that they use. They do beautiful opalescent sort of sculptures. Uh, it's probably been used as a surname, but yes. So you said then a scroll that was written by someone who was a Sedevkar, or it was named Sedevkar. That's interesting.
Yes. And the museum supposedly had more scrolls by this individual, but they are missing, as it turns out.
How old?
so several hundred years.
It was written in Persian.
From the best that we were able to gather.
Yeah, I would probably be able to do that. It depends on how old the Persian is. It would make it more difficult, but certainly I can do that for you.
Are you a family man, Farrar?
I am not.
Where in the city do you live?
I live, here in Istanbul, about a mile from here.
You were going to say something, Thisbe.
Oh, I was, yeah, no, just a passing thought. I was just thinking of offering to help his repair his desk and such.
Well,
Yeah, do they have craftsmen in the bazaar, I assume?
Oh, no, don't worry about such things. I'll take care of this myself. Well, if there's anything then that I can help you with now, you are walking about the bazaar. Are you ready to leave, or did you just arrive? If you want, I can accompany you.
We were getting our bearings. We were going to try to find the area where the scribes are on offer to assist. And then we wish to pick up some materials with which to defend ourselves from just the sort of villains who assaulted you there.
Well, I can show you where that is. So if you'll follow me, and he folds all these things up and tucks some of the pieces of the broken table into the little part of, it sort of opens up.
Yeah.
He's got paper and stuff in there. And he says, please, accompany me. He gets a big smile on his face. Oh, he probably also negotiates a price for you, which seems reasonable.
Yeah.
How visibly injured is he?
He's got some bruises on his face.
Still developing, yeah.
Otherwise, you can't. He's got a white robe, on. So
He's not bleeding
no, he's not bleeding
anywhere. It's noticeable. Okay, that's good.
They just wanted to beat him up. They didn't want to seriously injure him.
Yeah, so Farrar, as we walk, I'll try to keep up with you. As for foreigners who are visible in the city, who anticipate that they will need to defend themselves, what do you recommend?
Well, he definitely tells you to stick together as a group. Don't go walking down any dark alleys. If you need guns or knives or anything like that, there's tons of them you can get here. If you want a truncheon, you can find that. All of them fairly well decorated, just in that sort of style.
Is there a nice any like a smaller revolvers or such?
Sure, yeah. Lots of derringers with a lot of beautiful scroll work on them.
Oh, yeah.
If anything, like a little bit more powerful than a Derringer, like
Yeah.
a 38 or something.
I'm sure there would be, yes.
Wonderful. It's always good to have a backup, even though I prefer my 45s.
So if you want, you can say that you spend a few hours walking about the bazaar with him. If you want to add a weapon or two to your arsenal, I'm not going to stop you, except if it's a elephant gun.
Nice.
Uh,
I like the idea of a nice sap. If I had had a sap on me when those fellows attacked him, I would have been much bolder about instead of throwing a potato. It's quiet. It's not as bloody as, say, a knife.
Now, he also teaches you an awful lot about negotiation because he says you're white, they're going to give you top price. And if you don't haggle it down, they're going to think you're idiots. So he helps you. And it's funny because as he haggles with people, it's almost like he's getting angry at them and they're getting angry back. But at the same time, it all seems to negotiate out and everybody ends up happy. You know.
Yep.
It's an interesting process. All right. So after that, you probably go for some food. There's a lot of lovely little coffee places all around.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Do you recommend a place to eat? We'd love to pick you up a lunch.
Yeah, I mean, he probably just, takes you to something that the locals go to all the time. He says there's British food if you want that, but if you want to taste the local cuisine, this place is really good and this place is really good. So we'll say you're there until, you finish your lunch around 12:30.
Well, while we're at lunch, if we get water with lemon, I'm going to try a little lemon juice on those scrolls to see if there was.
Oh, okay. Well, if you have a discussion with him about invisible ink, he's like, well, you wouldn't want to do that because you would be overwriting. He says you want a candle flame.
Inorganic chemist, for heaven's sakes.
Oh, yeah.
No, you want heat. You want to rub it over a light bulb. Something that will not burn the paper, but will turn the acid in the lemon juice a brownish red hue.
So, Gunter, go ahead and do a luck roll.
Okay. Had decent luck, but not 85 luck.
Yeah, you get some scorch marks on the back of the paper, but you don't see any hidden writing.
Strange. Why would Smythe go to the trouble to give these to us?
Maybe hand it to Dr. Kurz. He might, in his ways of working the lab, might have a trick or two.
He said he got into trouble in Prague, not that he found those scrolls in Prague, yes? He was corresponded with some dishonest person who sold him scrolls that were nonsense, I think.
Yeah.
The plain scroll case, now that we have seen the Sedefkar scroll case, worked by a Sedefkar with unpleasant markings in mother of pearl. No, those were in the museum. And the Brotherhood got a hold of them 100 years ago. I fear.
Yeah. We worked so long on that cryptogram he gave us to try and figure it out.
Yeah,
Cipher.
that's true. He made us work a lot for that nonsense.
Yeah.
So, Farrar, you're a local fellow?
Yes, my whole life.
And do you have some interest in history? This is why you spend so much time at the Tokapi?
I do, yes. He says I I got my degree in languages, but I was very interested in history, and my family didn't have the kind of money that it would take to make me into a scholar, but I've done with it what I can. I'm a scribe. It brings in, I'm pretty well paid.
Have you heard ever any local tales about a red tower?
Red Tower. What sort of tower? I mean, there are lots of towers.
Someplace with sinister connotations. I think not in Istanbul, but across the strait, some historical place where, I don't know.
There are many places that are, dangerous. Not in particular. And there's definitely areas of the city I wouldn't go, but they're all over the place.
This is a danger that is less mundane than that.
And he thinks for a second, and he's like, there are places here, if you are looking for information. I mean, the Bazaar, they sell all sorts of items, but information is also one of the things that is bought and sold. There's a gentleman, he sometimes is difficult to find. He is called Balabtai Lien. Balabtai Lien. It means the man who perspires.
Oh, lovely.
He likes very much to hang out. He is a big man, a fat man. He likes very much to hang out in the hammamis. It's said that if there's any information that's to be had, he has it for a price. But getting in contact with him, that's a little shadier. My recommendation would be to, write a note and give it to a post boy, and it will go out into the network, and eventually it will get to Baylab, and then Baylab will send you a message telling you where and when to meet. But it's I'm also told that he does not like to be kept waiting, so what time he gives you is the time to be there.
Has a reputation for accuracy as well as mystery and luxury.
Yes, but he's probably not very cheap.
Yeah, well, we have a fund from the fellow who bought these bad scrolls. So is there a network of urchins, that sort of thing? It wouldn't be easier to put a notice in a newspaper?
That might work too. But yeah, there's it's not as well organized as you might imagine, but most people know who Baylab is. So it'll go through the vocal network and the like you say, the urchin network. The word will get to him probably quicker than you think.
Very good. Let's see. Why don't you, since you understand the system, this is where we can be reached at the Para Palace Hotel. We are forwarders looking for someone who can help us with obscure local history.
He immediately begins to write. Yeah. and he's writing in Turkish.
Yeah.
And he would like to meet what sort of say obscure history. Now he might know that, but he's going to know more about what's going on in the city and where to look for things. I was thinking your Red Tower.
Yeah, Red Tower. We are interested in unofficial organizations, particularly of arcane or occult nature.
Oh, he will know that. Also, all of the insurrectionists, all of the, you're getting into a little bit of dangerous territory there.
Yeah, we are not here politically by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, there's a lot of unrest because of the British. You're not British, though. I'll make that very clear.
No. Nor French, for that matter.
So he writes that up, and he looks around, and you hear him yell something out in Turkish, and he points, and a young man, looks like he's maybe 13, comes running up. He's dressed almost in a similar way. This sort of white robe with a little white cap is fairly popular. He comes up and he says, make sure this message gets to Belab, the perspirer. And the kid, he gives the kid a coin, and the kid runs off down the street, turns a corner, disappears. He says, you should check every day in your mailbox at the hotel, and you'll find a message, I'm sure, within a day or two.
Very good.
Sounds promising.
It'll probably only contain a location and a time, but don't be late.
And I think we have little on our agenda this afternoon. Is there something you should show us as a local? And we also need to learn how we contact you when we are in a hurry.
I will give you. He actually rustles through his box and he pulls out what it amounts to a business card. He says, "What you saw me do there. If you need me, you do the same thing. Give a coin to a boy, and he will follow the address and bring me the note and tell me that you need me. However, you want to have somebody with you during the day. We can arrange. I can meet you at the Para Palace Hotel every morning. It's not a problem."
Very good.
I mean, there's so much to see. There's churches. There's, the city is quite spectacular. So if you want, he can sort of give you a tour of some of the more spectacular things. The churches are spectacular on the inside, as are the mosques. He shows you. He'll take you around the city and show you around, and that'll take a few hours. Do you have any other questions for him, or we can cut ahead to early evening with you guys going back to the Para Palace?
No question I can think of.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'll ask him if he has any theories about the rash of missing children.
He's like, oh no, that's horrible. Actually, when that comes up, as you guys have been sitting at dinner and or coffee houses along the way, he tells you that these places are also very good for getting information. Of course, you don't understand the language. So as you're sitting there with him, it probably comes up. He'll say, the people at the table on the right are talking about the children going missing and how they're themselves very concerned and keeping their children on a tight leash. And there's a rumor network that goes around everywhere. Strange things going on here and there, trouble with the British, and so forth. But yeah, he thinks it's terrible. I mean, unfortunately, there's such a lot of poverty, and there's a lot of very strange and horrible, immoral people out there in the world that are willing to do horrible, horrible things, even to children.
Wait until he sees the scroll of the head.
And he also thinks that there's probably a lot more that haven't been reported. Nobody trusts the British. Nobody trusts the police, even the Turkish police.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys dismiss him for the day. He leaves, and I would like you to do a spot hidden roll. And this is as you are on your way back to the Para Palace.
Jeez.
97.
Ooh.
This is crazy. My spot hidden is 70, and this is my third fail. It's an 89.
09 hard.
And Dr. Cruz.
93. I'm in the blind club.
So you're going through the crowded streets and so forth, heading back to, you can see the Para Palace in the distance up ahead. Theodore, Gabriel, and Roland, you sort of you walk by an alley as you go. But as Gunter, as you walk by the alley, you just invariably turn your head as you go past it. And it doesn't quite register at first what you think you see, because the crowd is so colorful. There's so many different sort of things in the crowd. But you think in that moment or so that you see a gentleman in fairly colorful clothing with what looks like a bear. It's sort of in the shadows. It looks like maybe he was going somewhere. And after you see it, you go with the others past the alley. You stop. You turn around and walk back. They see you stop and turn around. They're wondering what you're looking at. And by the time you get back to the alley and turn and look down there, there's nothing there. I mean, there's people, but there's...
Yeah.
And it occurs to you that you also think you guys saw what you assumed was a gypsy with a bear at the Grand Bazaar. And there's so many weird things going on in the city all the time. You're not sure that you really saw it or not, but it's an odd thing to see.
Is Farrar still with us?
No, he's left you by now.
I'll mention. I was like, man, I swore I just saw a bear in that alley.
Brown bear, black bear, grizzly bear.
Shadowy, so you couldn't really tell what color.
Yeah.
The figure with the bear in the bazaar, we thought he was a gypsy because he was colorfully garbed, or...
Yeah, kind of performer. You look like a circus performer. Street performer.
Yeah, there were also acrobats and jugglers and things in the bazaar,
Yeah,
and
sure.
musicians.
Yeah,
But given what a crowded space it is, the bear seems like,
seems dangerous.
yeah, even messy.
Mhm. I'm going to take a look in this alley, and I assume it's kind of dirt or dirty. Just look to see if there's any paw prints or.
And I'll go with Gunther
Yeah, we're all sticking
once,
together,
Yeah.
because
especially
you
with
tell
alleys.
us of what you saw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it's kind of dirty. There's definitely trash here and there. It's not a huge alley. It's very much, got buildings on all sides, so it's shadowy.
Right.
But there are 5 or 6 directions that they could have gone in and turned to other corners, and uh, there's probably people back there,
I'm
the
an
backs of restaurants that are, dropping garbage in their garbage pails, and
Do any beggars?
I am an expert tracker, as I would I might have a slight chance at finding
you
something.
have a slight chance, but it's cobblestone.
Just cobble. I
So
get cut out there. Sorry, I didn't hear.
Yeah, not the best for even large prints when there is such an uneven surface. But you are an expert.
Not like a high percentage would do me any good, but
yeah, you'd have
Nice.
to get an extreme to see anything at all
Yeah.
oh
if you
really?
wanted to try.
Really? I'll give it a whirl. Chances are I'll get 100, and then wow, I got a 14, but that's not an extreme.
Okay.
There may or may not have been a bear
Oh,
here.
I can spend 5 points of luck to get an extreme.
I don't know how important this is.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, did I freeze?
No.
No,
Oh,
we're
good.
just wondering at the humor of spending 5 points.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
find out like almost nothing.
There was definitely a large creature here the last week. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any like I said, is there any like vagrant sleeping in the alleyway or
No.
no? Okay.
You kind of realize the only places you really see the beggars are right out in the middle of the crowd. Otherwise, they're
Yeah.
not getting anything.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, no, not gonna spend 5.
Got it.
Yeah. There's the ability to find something here would be pretty remote, if there
Yeah.
was anything at all.
Right.
All right, so you return to the Para Palace, and as you come in the front door, uh, the concierge, who is now familiar with who you are, uh, because he's good, uh, he sees you come in the door, and he's like,
Yes.
and as you walk over, he reaches up and he pulls an envelope out of what you assume is your cubby, and he says, "This was delivered for you," and he hands it to one of you, whoever.
Hi.
Thank you. I'm gonna take the envelope and kind of rub my hands on it, because if like a key's in there, you'll be able to feel it through the envelope. Anything besides like a letter.
It feels like a letter. It doesn't feel
Okay.
like there's anything inside of it, and in fact, the outside of it has got some rather formal looking English script on it. It just says something to the effect of the gentleman who saved the day on the Orient Express.
Really?
It's it's the thanks I get. Shall we open this in our rooms?
Yeah.
I thank the concierge.
Of course.
Yeah, tip. Go ahead and tip a
Thank you, Theodore.
couple.
All right, you head up to your rooms.
Yeah.
You open up the envelope, and it's high quality paper. And at the top of it, it says, from the Deputy High Commissioner, Sir Douglas Rutherford. It says, gentlemen, the exploits of your Orient Express adventure have come to my attention. I have a matter that I would like very much to discuss with you. If you could come to the British consulate at your at your earliest convenience. And it's signed Sir Douglas Rutherford. And the paper all looks very official. And
yeah.
Have we heard of Sir Douglas Rutherford before?
Not particularly.
Oh, no. So where this consulate is.
Actually, Theodore, you can do. Yeah, maybe you could do a roll to see if you know, because if it's somebody in the British government.
Wow, look at that. It just gets better and better. 98.
Yeah, you don't know who he is.
Oh, the British consulate's not that far from our hotel at all.
No. Depending on what hour in the afternoon it is, we might be able to get there well in advance. Earliest convenience.
Probably only 6.
Well, I would expect the consulate. Well, I don't know what kind of hours the consulate keeps, in fact. The concierge will know. I'll ring the desk.
I wonder.
They're never closed. And the residents, the commissioner's residence would be there also.
Yeah, I say we wash up and head over immediately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Use some tasty British dinner. Maybe they've got some.
Oh, they can boil a beef for us.
Mm-hmm.
Boiled mutton.
Yeah. Delicious.
All right. So you clean up. You head over to the consulate. The British consulate is a very British-looking sort of building in the colonial style. As you come up to it, there's a sort of a reception area when you come inside, and the person there asks you to wait, and they send word to the commissioner that you are there. You'll notice that there are British people mostly working here. However, there is what you would call a servant class that is definitely Turkish. But as you're sitting there, after a few moments, a gentleman in a suit comes out. He looks like he's maybe in his early 30s. And he says, the commissioner will see you now. If you'd please follow me. He takes you through an archway. There is the building is interestingly shaped. It's kind of like a ring, but it's rectangular. It's not circular. There's a little garden in the center, and you can see as you're coming up, there are definitely garden grounds all around the consulate as well. He takes you through another door into a room. It's very formal, very British looking. There's a fireplace that has a low fire growing in it. There's books going, up to the ceiling. Everything is very pleasant, very, very formal looking. There's a large desk, and behind the desk is an older man. He looks like he's at least in his maybe early 60s or very late 50s. He is tall, he is skinny, he's impeccably dressed. He has a beard and mustache and graying hair. He stands up immediately, and he's like, gentlemen, thank you for coming. I'm Sir Douglas Rutherford. I am the Deputy High Commissioner. And he looks at his aide and he says, please leave us and make sure nobody disturbs us. And he's very prim, proper.
Very, very British.
Yes, very British. Until his assistant closes the door and he goes out. He says, I heard about the things that took place on the train. And to be perfectly honest, I need someone that can help me. And you seem, at least from your reputation, that you're the kind of people that can help. You see, and you can see that that British stiff upper lip is there, but he's at the same time fighting against his own something terrible. He says, my son James has been kidnapped. And I personally don't know what to do. James is 7, I think, 7 years old. He's 9. Sorry, he's 9 years old. He was last seen in the consulate gardens yesterday, and I highly suspect that he's been kidnapped by somebody, perhaps even somebody on staff. And frankly, I don't trust the police, and I don't trust anyone. I'm reaching out to you only because of your reputation. I don't know you, but I mean, I have it on the best authority that you guys are actually legitimate. And because you're strangers here, I trust you more than I trust my own people. You know that there's been a lot of children taken lately.
Sadly.
Yes, we wondered whether the official reports were accurate or whether the numbers were rather higher.
Oh, I'm sure the numbers are higher, but so far they've only taken local children. I'm almost ashamed to say the reason why. You see, my son, he kind of fancies these people. You start to get the impression that that Sir Rutherford is pretty much a xenophobe. He doesn't like the fact that these people are Turkish, even though he's in Turkey. Maybe he wasn't happy with his assignment. But my son likes to dress up as the locals. He dresses in a little robe and wears a little hat. So it's very likely that if it's not for ransom, and I've received no ransom demand, that they just thought that he was a local and kidnapped him.
How long ago did you say he went missing, your 9-year-old son?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, that's right, okay.
And I have no idea where he could be or who could have taken him.
Well, I think the first thing, Sir Rutherford, is you should probably show us around the grounds so we can ascertain the access to the consulate gardens and whatnot.
To be honest, I'm afraid that I don't want. As I said, I suspect that the only people that could have gotten to him would be someone on staff.
You know, understandably, of course, this is a secure facility to some extent, but children will wander places. And has James lived here his entire life? Is that why he has gone native?
No, in fact, we've only moved here 2 years ago. I was assigned. But you know how boys are.
Yeah,
He he even occasionally likes to rub the sienna on his face so that he matches their skin complexion.
Oh,
Oh my.
I didn't really approve of it, but you know, as a boy, I've got a picture. He shows you photographs and things of his kid.
is
Kid's actually blonde hair, blue eyed, but
is James's mother also an assignment here?
I'm afraid she's passed away.
Yeah, my condolences. I feared as much.
I don't have all the time to watch him, but you know, my job. But there are people that I have trusted. I hope. I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't know what to look for or who to. You know, if there's somebody working here, perhaps one of
Who
the
among,
servants.
who among the staff was last to have seen him?
Nobody will say. Uh, I think
Did
they all
you?
sort of protect themselves.
Yeah, but you knew he was. Is it the internal gardens that James was in?
It was around the outside, I believe, of the consulate.
And the kidnappings that usually take place, there's never any sort of note that comes back. It's just disappeared. That's it.
Yeah, there's not the police have said there's nothing that's no demands have been made.
Yeah.
We don't know. Oh dear God, what strange person may have stolen my son? I mean, I'll pay all of your expenses. I'll you know, he offers to pay you whatever you want if you could just bring his son back.
I wonder if there's any sort of rather than worrying about remuneration, is there some semi-official document you can give us, or a card or something that will encourage people to cooperate with our inquiries? Can you deputize us in some way?
Give you, yes, anything that you like. I can have all that drawn up. My only concern is who it could possibly be on my staff. You're used to dealing with terrorists and with these villains or people like them. Would you know what to look for?
One of the difficulties with these individuals is that they are quite adept at disguise, in the sense that they'd be willing to go as far as to alter their appearance to look almost identical to somebody on the staff. So it may not even be that somebody on the staff has betrayed you, but that somebody on the staff has been replaced, so to speak.
Well, should we interrogate them?
I think so. I mean, we think the boy disappeared from here, and you and the staff are the only ones that have access to this area.
I'm sorry, Keeper, is the consulate garden within a wall around the building?
Yeah, imagine there's a building. The building itself has a garden in the center of it, but there's grounds all around it with maybe an iron fence.
Yeah, so there's a fence, but it's not as if it's walled. It probably has a couple of gates and, and
trees and things.
How large is the staff here?
Say about 50 people.
Oh.
And if you've been here only 2 years, probably most of the staff preceded you, yeah?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I mean, there's aides and there's people that I have at least a fair amount of trust because we work together.
Yeah.
But my concern is mostly the serving staff, since, and he says it, they all sort of look alike.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mr. Yeah. But there is also English staff that was here before you arrived, of course.
Yes, some of them,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
The heads of the staff are all British.
I'm concerned that if we begin to interview 50 people, that we will be extremely conspicuous, no?
Well, perhaps a few at a time. I mean, we could start with just the Turks on staff.
Yeah, he doesn't have an official nanny from England who is here.
No.
Does he have a tutor of some kind, or is he schooled off of the compound?
He's actually schooled off of the compound.
Mm-hmm. And he's gone a bit native. Yeah. Well, I suppose if this is in any way related to some of the terrorist activities we interacted with previously, there may be telltale signs. So perhaps if we interview a few at a time, we can at least begin there.
I'd like to look at where he was last seen also, which maybe the staff would know, but maybe better than you.
Yeah, he yells out, Bernard. And after just a very short period, that same gentleman comes in his suit. Yes, sir. And he's like, I want you to show these gentlemen where James was playing, and then I'd like you bring them back here. I want you to gather the cleaning staff, the serving staff, and bring them in 6 at a time. For these gentlemen to observe and to look at. Yes, sir.
And the staff here all speak decent English, I would assume, so we won't need a translator of any kind.
Right, mostly, yeah. Mostly they speak fairly well English. So he says, yes, gentlemen, if you'll follow me, I'll take you out to the gardens.
Okay, thank you.
And in fact, he does. And you can see when he takes you out there, it's fairly secure. It's in the shadow of the buildings, but there are a lot of trees, and somebody could have come over the fence, grabbed the kid, and then abducted him, pulled him back over. It could have happened with more than one person, comrades or people working together to do it.
Outside of the compound and the iron fence gate, are there stores? Is there like a cafe that's frequently has people at it? Or?
There are streets, so yeah, there would be other buildings, and would probably more government buildings and banks and things like that this close to the consulate, but I'm sure there's coffee houses and places as well.
For the government buildings, would there be guards posted outside these?
Nominally, it's like they're not heavily guarded, although there's probably at least 2 guards because of the general difficulties going on with the British and the Turks at the moment.
Yeah.
They're not like this kind of guard. They're probably just security.
Okay. All right. I assume that the fence is like a wrought iron.
Yeah, it's wrought iron.
So I'm gonna go along and check the fence, see if there's any loose pickets or whatever they're called on the fence, or if there's anything that's been kind of scraped and not maintained. Seeing if anyone's messed with it, or maybe this boy knew there was a loose picket he could squeeze out.
Do a spot hidden.
Okay. Mm. Mm. No.
Well, there are some places in there that are not in the best repair,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't find anything as obvious as a broken
Right. Okay.
pipe or pole or whatever you call those parts of the fence. It's a good thing to look up the parts of a fence.
Yeah, I know in a wooden fence it's a picket.
Right.
I'm guessing stanchion, but I'm
Ooh.
only guessing.
Yeah. So after you have a look around, he
Roger
brings
that
you.
are boys.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
I was going to suggest that Thursby attempt to track in there's any muddy patches or something, a boy's footprints versus some adult out here.
Is
You
there
can try that.
trackable? There's trackable
Yeah,
terrain.
there's grass and there's dirt. There's places.
Yeah, okay. Whoa, 007. And that's a hard. Oh, darn it. Yeah, it's so close to an extreme. I'm like a couple points from an extreme, but it's a hard success.
Just a couple points from an extreme.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. Let's break this case open. Here we
All right.
go.
Find nothing.
Goodbye, 2 points of luck. That'll probably be needed later to save my life.
It takes you a few minutes of looking around, but something catches your eye, and like the glint of metal near one of the trees.
Uh-huh.
And as you go over, it is a small tin soldier that is there against the tree trunk. Looks like there's actually a couple of them now that you look around. Like this is definitely where he played.
Mm-hmm.
And there is evidence that there was a scuffle.
Does
in
it
the
like
dirt.
multiple people or just one child, one adult?
Well, there's definitely something that's kind of pushed down, damaged the grass. It could have been two people. At least one, but maybe two.
Why point this out to my colleagues?
Yeah, and
Immediately.
is this Bernard fellow following us around?
He's with you, yes.
Out of his earshot, I wish to say that it is a matter of concern if we think that it's the Brotherhood that's kidnapping children and they came on here for the son of the consul. Maybe they want to put his face on one of their pre-programmed children. At any rate, it doesn't look as though he wandered off. He was clearly abducted. And he wasn't taken away by someone on the staff that he trusted who said, little James, let's go and get your favorite blancmange or custard or other nasty English dessert. He struggled with someone, his toys were dropped. Thursby, is there any sign of where they went after the scuffle?
Do we have any sort of tracking out or?
You have the nearest part of the fence.
Yeah.
If they went over the fence at that point, they could have pulled him into an alley.
Yes.
Yeah. Just a few feet.
Yeah. Carriage, a car. Yeah.
In between a couple of buildings.
And this fence is only some 6 or 8 feet high,
it's like
so a couple of adults. Yeah.
And it's not spiked or anything on the top.
Darn.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to insult the consul, but I think talking to the staff at great length seems pointless. Although, yeah, maybe one of them has some funny seams around the neck.
Yeah.
Half an inside job.
Is there any, like, I don't know, just going out on a limb here, like a torn bit of clothing on the gate or?
Oh, with your really good roll, yeah, maybe you find a little bit of white cloth. If the kid liked to dress in those little white
Yeah.
robes. Yeah,
Okay.
some threads, like it got snagged.
Got it. Okay. And that's on the fence. Okay, so that really draws the line.
You're 99% sure this is the spot where the kid was when he got abducted.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was the direction he was taken. It's not like there was some grate in the garden grounds that they went down into some weird sewer or something.
Right. You can also assume that it would have happened sometime after lunch. Or maybe just around dinner, just before dinner time.
Yeah, presumably the staff knows where the kid is for meals. Now, Bloch, Noda, you are better at understanding human behavior than I. Do we want to show the consul the little tin soldier? Or perhaps it's even lead? To say, we are on the right track? And thus further put the fear of God into him? Or do we want to keep this discovery to ourselves until we have something more?
I don't know what benefit we really have from telling him, other than trying to gauge. I mean, I don't know why he would bring us here if he's in on it.
Yeah. No.
I don't know what he'd be trying to hide.
It might reassure him that we're good, like within moments of getting the case, that we're reliable, and then might increase his chance of deputizing us, giving some level of authority to us.
I don't know how much getting deputized by the British is going to help us here.
Yeah.
It might actually work to our detriment.
Well, it would legitimize our endeavor if put in a pinch, but we don't have to play it as an initial card.
We won't
It
be
helps us in
wearing.
a pinch with the British, but it won't help us in a pinch with everybody else.
The British are technically the authorities. Of course, what I wish is to get a brigade of soldiers to go across the river and storm the Red Tower for us, but I have a feeling that even little Mr. James will not be sufficient to that end.
But we can start building trust and confidence, I think, by showing them what we found already, just minutes into our investigation.
Yeah. I'm going to, while they're discussing that, where the scuffle is, I'm going to be kind of looking out, past the gate. Is there a restaurant over there with like a window maybe facing this way where someone could have seen something?
It's possible. It's possible. Bystanders. There's people everywhere, but it's kind of shady in here. So if they're out in the bright sun, they might not really notice what's going on here. If they grabbed the kid and went over the wall, he would only be exposed for a matter of seconds before they ducked into an alley.
I'm sure there was a vehicle waiting nearby. And
Could have been a vehicle. And then whether anybody would actually admit to seeing anything. Yes.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned earlier, we found a little bit of clothing ripped and torn at the iron fence, indicating that was the direction they breached back over into the streets. So, yeah. Okay.
Well, gentlemen, if you'll come with me back inside, he wants to go through the staff.
Bernard, do you have any suspicions of your own?
Well, I tend to be along with whatever the consulate says. I'd say that it's most likely that it would have to be, if it is any member of the staff, it would be one of the Turkish staff. Of course, the British are on our side, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, you never know. Have any of the staff recently been hired on?
They turn over every once in a while. Yeah, I don't really pay close attention to that.
Do you have the accounting books?
I'm sure that we can get
hiring
list of
documents. Okay.
people.
Yeah, I'm curious also if any of the English staff have missed a day or two unexpectedly.
Yeah, that'd be in like their
You want
like,
attendance?
Yeah.
Yeah, something of that kind. So,
Do that as well. So he takes you back in. You can see the consul is. I mean the Sir Rutherford is. I mean he's upset. He says, "Well, let's do this by the books," you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes and he sits down and he says, Bernard to bring in the first group. So he brings in the first group. What are you looking for? They're all olive skinned.
Well, I'm looking for seams.
Okay.
I'm looking to see if anybody's wearing somebody else's skin. That's it.
Right.
and the performance is asking some straightforward questions about where they saw James last, how long they have been with the embassy, the consulate. But yeah, then we're just looking around back here.
Okay. All right. So a number of these groups come and go. Go ahead and do a spot hidden for me.
Dear Lord.
83. Why? What has happened to my sight?
07. 07 on my end, see? 80
And,
better.
and I have 14, which I think is just extreme now that I'm up to 66.
Mine is 66, and extreme would be 13.
Yeah, just no, yeah, a hard.
Yeah, I just got a hard also with the
Okay.
07.
So after looking at a few of these people, a few groups, one group comes in, and it's subtle, but Dr. Kurz, you notice you're looking at exactly the right spot, that the color of the skin behind the ear and coming onto the jawline is different, and there may be a faint scar there where the two have been joined. Gunter, with your 007, something strikes you as very odd. The man's eyes, it's there's something wrong about his eyes. It's like they're dead man's eyes. He definitely looks like something's been replaced, right. And you, having had one of your eyes, you know exactly this sort of thing. The guy is trying to just look forward and pretend like nothing is happening, but the more you stare at him, the more you notice he's sweating.
And
what do you want to do?
What position in the consulate did he work?
He's just on the cleaning staff.
Okay, yeah, on the cleaning staff. Oh, yeah, there we go. One. So I go as we're kind of going there, I'll walk kind of past and come back to him. It's like going, is it a hot day, my friend?
He is quiet for a moment, and then suddenly he turns and bolts for the door.
Okay. I am going to try and just kind of like.
We'll go into dex order.
Yeah. Dang it. Terrible dex.
I forget who's got the highest dex.
I have a dex of 60.
50.
55.
And we've 75 for Dex here.
Okay, so Theodore, Gabriel, Roland, Gunter. So Theodore, as As
Shoot him in the
gets
leg. I'm a good shot. There's no way I could roll
now
that bad.
you're inside
This
the
is me.
consulate.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. All right. Never mind. All right,
You just
okay.
start shooting things.
This is the
But-
guy we want.
Collateral damage be damned.
The head of this.
He's 5 feet from you.
Yeah.
Oh, I could just tackle the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought he's like out
No.
the door.
He's making a run for the door.
Oh, okay. God, just tackle it.
All right, go ahead and do your brawl.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Let's just pile this. All right, let's see. Let's come on. Let's not be horrible. Hey, that's not horrible. It's a success.
Okay, he failed. So you very deftly, trip him. He falls, and you grab him. You've got him.
Yeah, I'll just put his arms behind his back and bring him
Dr.
back.
Gabriel, and he's struggling. He begins to shout in Turkish.
I'd like to seat him in a chair. Just
And
Let's give Gabriel, Dr. Neruda, a chance to do something if he wants to.
How is everybody else reacting?
Well, Rutherford is British, so he's shocked for a moment, but Bernard has sort of jumped out of the way. He wasn't expecting it. Obviously, Theodore quickly grabbed him. Gunter is the one who saw, along with Dr. Kurz. So it's just, you can just stand there. You can.
Yeah, I kind of want to lean down to the guy who's struggling and kind of just say, how long has it been since they replaced your eye, my friend?
He is going to try and spit on you. Okay. He just spits. He doesn't really spit on you. Dr. Kurz?
I am tempted. I assume that I did not bring my shiny new cudgel from the market to the embassy, because that might be taken the wrong way.
Okay.
So instead of slugging him, I will just say to Bernard, silence him before he warns the others.
And Gunter?
him spitting there, I'm going to kind of approach him from the side, and I'll tell him, I know how it hurts to have the eye replaced. And he's like going, our doctor here can help you out if you just help us out with some info.
He's angered, he's furious, he's screaming, and in English he yells at you. He's like, of course the brothers have the boy. He says, you're all doomed. The skin beast will come soon and will sweep you all into the arms of the skinless one. As he says that, you notice that his face crinkles up. He looks like he's suddenly in agony, and you kind of got it, under the arms. And his eyes go open wide, and they kind of melt in his face
Really?
as this happens. And the skin on his face, where his mouth is, it's like it curls back and begins to peel itself off of his skull. He screams in agony. Of course, Bernard and Sir Rutherford step back in horror as it happens. But the guy screams in agony as the skin begins to peel itself off of his face and torso. He begins to shake.
A letter opener on a desk. I want to try to stab the face before it gets away.
Okay,
if it's trying to get that far.
Well, considering what you probably have always had on your person, you've probably got the Mem Sahis.
Yes, that's true. I don't need that.
Healing, does it look
And
like he's burning?
No, it looks like his
Okay.
skin is being torn off of his body.
His skin is trying to run away.
Gotcha.
I'm going to cure it. Let's see, how's my surgery now? It's getting better all the time. Medicine. 44. Yeah, it's 10 points. Where am I at? At 50 exactly. Also, I don't know what counts as alive and if I'm cutting it or I want to hold on to it.
Okay. You get the strong impression from what I'm trying to understand you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking of the skin as an entity that you are trying to stop.
Yeah.
But the skin itself doesn't seem to be acting or reacting to your cutting. It's just pulling across the blade and probably splitting it as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't seem to be like a creature. It's just tearing itself off of his body. And you can see that it's sort of turning on his face, and then it's forcing itself down his throat. So he begins gasping and choking and shaking violently on the ground.
So this is more like a cyanide capsule than an escape attempt.
It's killing him. Yeah. And within a couple of seconds, his airways being blocked off. He shakes and he dies.
Yeah, two things. One, gross.
Yeah, really gross.
I don't know if I have another thing, actually. I said two things.
Sanity roll?
Yes.
Yeah, you can do sanity rolls.
Oh, God.
That was your second thing there.
And
oh, God, 92.
45, I guess I am
digging it.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
and,
it's not bad.
And Sir Douglas Rutherford and Bernard are both horrified and extremely shaken. But the guy is dead, and you get the impression at this point they'll literally do anything that you tell them to do because
yeah,
they don't know what to make of this. Their sanity is
the red. We need to tell them about the Red Tower.
So
before we get that, I failed my sanity roll.
Okay, do a 1d4.
1d4, okay.
Otherwise, just take 1 point.
2.
3.
1. 1.
Okay. Well, I'd assume in the paperwork for this hiring, they'd have this guy's address, so I'll mention that.
Well, also, we think that there were 2 men in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to quiet this. We need, obviously, you need to call in security, Sir Rutherford. This needs to be disposed of, and without alerting the staff.
I'm going to fire everyone on the staff. All the Turks are out. We'll have to rehire, but he honestly, he's almost speechless because he doesn't know. This is beyond my imagination. Some horrible supernatural evil has crept in, even into these, into the government positions. And
we need to have an emergency secret meeting right away with you. So we can discuss next actions, which need to be done quickly.
We can say that in addition to what was going on, Bernard has lists of the staff with him as he was bringing them in. So this one's particular name was Kuradef.
Kuradef.
And he lives, they're not exactly sure precisely of the exact residence, but they know what quarter, what sort of area he lives in. of the
Okay.
city.
Mhm.
He posits that the staff security just isn't very thorough in their
Right.
investigation.
Mhm. So,
So, Rutherford, again, the reason we wished to conduct the investigation we did was because these people, well, just to call it a disguise, you see, is an understatement. So this Kuradef could have been a perfectly loyal employee until he was assaulted by these cultists and transformed into the thing that you saw. And so it's not about the previous security of your staff. It's something larger and stranger than this. But at least he acknowledged that our fears are true. We have a lead as to where your son is being held.
Yeah.
Or by whom.
Yeah, and we need to have a conversation in private so that we don't have multiple ears listening to this. And it needs to be done quickly.
Oh, yeah. Actually, how did the rest of the staff respond?
Yeah, there were 5 others. They just sort of backed away. They ran back or backed away from him and looked on in horror.
okay. Yeah.
And but they didn't like attack. They didn't really run.
Mhm.
So can I take the deputy commissioner aside? Because we need quick.
Well, he can
Private.
clear the room.
All right, but make sure no one's dismissed. Clear the room, but these people need to stay on the premise for now.
I think he'll have Bernard lock the place down.
Yeah, lock the place down. These people, especially the ones who just witnessed this needs to be locked down. And then we need to discuss our next actions immediately.
Okay.
Hmm.
So the question then is, do you want to discuss these things now or next week? Since it's right about 2 hours.
Seems like a good place to break.
Yeah.
Break on this tense moment.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, David Gasway, Stuart Lively, Keith Cragen, with yours truly as the keeper of arcane lore. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you would like to join them, please visit our Patreon page listed in the description, or you can use Super Thanks by hitting the button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.